Hello, my friends in film fandom, wherever you may be and however you may be watching. Thank you so much for giving us a little bit of your time. You know, we do love our visual horror. We do love the mix of sci-fi and horror. The two guys I have with me most often are just all into the blood and guts. Literally, figuratively, in Texas case, even spiritually, one would say. But we're here to talk about another one of the great underrated sci-fi horror films, in my opinion. It's become a cult film, and I'm very, very glad because as I was watching it yesterday, I was realizing again just how good this movie is. But I have the two best people here to talk about this movie with me tonight. The first of which being my head of life mate Jeremy. What's up, brother?
I just realized I wasn't wearing my horns, but not to fret. They are sitting right here on my desk from the last time I wore them, which I don't even remember why I wore them. But that's not really relevant. So
you could have just clawed your eyes out for the podcast. That would be cool.
Yeah, I mean, I know I say I commit to the bits, but I have other things to commit to, so I kind of.
You are a special effects makeup guy, so I mean, I figured if anything you could have done.
Well,
I mean, you could have pulled off this look right here. I think you could have done it.
Pulled off might be a poor choice of words right there, but yeah, I mean, probably some cool, some cool contacts that I would probably suffer through again, as we know from. Like I did with Saw, but hey, I've done crazier things. I also didn't do this on purpose, but I definitely have my Not Today Jesus shirt on, so I kind of realized that about 10 minutes before I came here. I was like, oh, well, you know what? That works.
Well, you know, dressing the part is something that comes naturally to you, so I think maybe in your subconscious somewhere, like way back here behind the medulla of your brain, it was like we should put on some kind of Satanist shirt today. I think it would work out.
We got demons on the brain.
Yeah.
I'll put the horns on. I'll just appease somebody here.
Speaking of demons, we have a Shape the Lone Star State. My man Tex, what's up, brother?
See, I don't just have one demon, I have Legion. So there's just a whole lot of crazy going around in here. But it's all good. But, you know, the one thing we'll get into in a minute, but the one line I'll keep wanting to say when I watch this film is "No tears, please. It's such a waste of sweet suffering." But then I realize this isn't a fucking horror. It's close, but we'll get there. It's all good. Yes, what's up?
I'm a different way with that.
It definitely compares, but now that Jeremy's got the horns on and he's in full devil regalia.
There we go. Hell yeah.
We say hi to the angel of our channel. What's up, BJ? How you doing? Good to see you. I hope you're doing very well. Thanks for coming and hanging out. We got some people ready to watch right now across all three platforms. Let's get right to it. We're here to talk about
all three platforms.
Yes, we are here to talk about Event Horizon. Is the 1997 science fiction horror film directed by Paul W.S. Anderson and written by Philip Eisner. It stars Laurence Fishburne, Sam Neill, Kathleen, Quinlan, Jolie Richardson. Set in 2047, it follows a crew of astronauts sent on a rescue mission after a missing spaceship, the Event Horizon, spontaneously appears in orbit around Neptune, only to discover that it is returned with a sinister force. Event Horizon was released on 15th of August, 1997. It was a box office failure, grossing only $26.6 million against a $60 million production budget in the United States. Internationally, it grossed $16 million for a worldwide total of $42 million, not even making back its budget. On Rotten Tomatoes, Event Horizons holds an approval rating of 35% based on 93 reviews and an average rating of 5.2 out of 10. Its consensus review reads, quote, "Despite a strong opening that promises sci-fi thrills, Event Horizon quickly devolves into an exercise of style over substance whose flashy effects and gratuitous gore fail to mask its over-reliance on horror cliches." They were not nice to this movie on Rotten Tomatoes, apparently. But
gratuitous?
Yeah, we're going to... Okay. Well, that's kind of part of the point of horror. I mean, gratuitous horror... That's
yes,
part
but
of the
this
genre.
is not gratuitous, though. This was not.
But I don't think it was terribly gratuitous. I'll go into why I don't think gratuitous is the right word here in a minute. But Jeremy, let me get your quick thoughts on Event Horizon before we get into all the spoiler talk.
Sorry, I'm talking about Harry Potter stuff and why Voldemort is kind of an idiot.
Expelliarmus.
Yeah, pretty much. Basically, he could have killed Harry Potter easily, without magic. He was a baby. You just pop him in the mouth. Easy. Lay him on his stomach and walk out. I don't know. But, the power of love and all that crap. No, you know what? I may have only seen this movie once before, I think. And it's kind of fun. I mean, the fun thing about doing this show is watching all these movies with my wife and her not having seen most of these like I do. Like I spent most of my time playing video games, watching movies, TV shows, all that jazz, and I continue to do so. So her seeing all these, and it's funny that I'm like, after it's over, it's like, see, remember when we used to just have fun and just make ridiculous bonkers shit, for movies, and just move on to the next thing. It's funny watching her slowly realize that, and it's like, this is the stuff that we've been saying. It's like people that are steeped into this more than, we're steeped in this more than most people, and it's like, I feel like we lost the fun. And honestly, you know what? This movie kind of gave me like Alien vibes, like maybe the first two Alien movies, the good ones, probably the only ones they made, if we're being honest, and a little bit of Doom. Like you're talking about like demons in space, and instead of on Mars, they're on Neptune in this movie. So it's kind of cool, and it's fun. It's kind of just out there, literally in space. But yeah, I had fun with it. It's I wouldn't say gratuitous, but I mean, this is also 1997. I mean, gratuitous is a little different than then than it is now.
True.
I would call Terrifier gratuitous. I'm like, it's not nearly on that level. I'm like, well, that's kind of unfair to compare it to now because this is nowhere near that, obviously. Again, it's 1997. What are you going to do?
Yeah, I don't know. Tex, give me your quick thoughts on the movie, then we'll get into our breakdown.
Yeah, this is an interesting one. This is a film with a few really good pieces of acting, but the tonal and the direction of this film, I don't think it really knows what it wants to be. The first 45 minutes of this film, you're watching Star Trek, you're Star Wars, and then it's like horror light. It's like, True Value brand Hellraiser. It's, Doom. There's a lot of. It's really hard to do sci-fi horror right. That's why I think it's such a subgenre as it is, because it's kind of like the whole horror comedy thing. What line do you walk, and how much of do you take of each? And like I said, this movie is acted phenomenal. There's 3 or 4 really good pieces here, but the rest of it's kind of a mess, and they held themselves back, which didn't do them any favors. But we'll break that more down here shortly.
Yeah, like I said, I think this is one of the underrated films of the sci-fi horror genre, because like I said, it came out in the weird period, like in the most of the 90s, horror was not doing very well. I think part of it was because the 70s and 80s stuff was so good that when they tried to make it a bit more modern, but the 90s sensibilities just did not work for the genre what it should be. And this was one of those ones where they kind of were just like, at least in the third act anyway, they just kind of said, screw it, we're going to go really crazy blood stuff, Satanism, we're going to go the whole 9, which is the stuff that the 70s and 80s did really well. And we're going to go with that and just make kind of a space version of a possession movie. And it worked out pretty well, I thought. Like I said, I think this movie suffers from the fact that the genre was at kind of a low point from the early 90s on into maybe like mid 2000s, when things finally started to pick up creatively. The genre started to get a little bit better. But yeah, look, you can't knock the cast in this movie. It's loaded with people who at the time were already pretty big names. You can't knock the storytelling of it all. You can't knock the director. These are all people that maybe not quite at the time. Paul W.S. Anderson, we'll talk about him in a minute. He was just kind of getting his groove at the time. But I mean, so many of these actors were already so good, and putting them all into this like newer kind of version of, I think it does compare very well to Alien, to the first Alien film.
This is Hellraiser meets Alien, is what this is.
Well, there are a lot of Hellraiser comparisons that are made in this movie. As a matter of fact, Paul W.S. Anderson, I'll talk about it a little bit later, even counted that movie as one of the inspirations for the visuals in this. So yeah, I mean, I thought it is a movie that just kind of was. It got shit on because horror was at a down spot in that time period, and they didn't just look at it as the movie that it was and and just say, hey, for all the crappy horror that is coming out in 1995, 96, 97, this is one of the non-crappy horror movies that is really, really good and should be seen as such. That's why I think it's become kind of a cult movie over the years. A lot of people have rewatched it over the last 10 or 15 years specifically and have said, hey, wait a minute, this movie actually is pretty good. All the things that they got shit on for, 20-something years ago they're probably not quite as valid now if you look at it again in retrospect. But let's break some of that stuff down now. Let's talk about the works of Paul W.S. Anderson. I mean, he's become a huge name in as a director since then. I'll go to you first, Jeremy. What do you think of Paul W.S. Anderson as a director and his work in this film?
Excuse me. Yeah. Like I said, this one. Well, I'm definitely not forgetting to look him up so I can look at other stuff he's done. Talking about this one, I like the concept that it doesn't just go with like some weird extraterrestrial that we don't know about, because while it is set in like the distant future, I mean, even for 1997, it's still kind of distant to us now. Even it's in like 2047 or something. Although I think the wildest thing is that they're like, hey, 2015, people were colonizing the moon. I'm like, well, we missed that one, didn't we? Damn it. That's unfortunate. But it was cool that, like I said, it wasn't just some weird extraterrestrial, which, I mean, to be fair, you could have some creative room to play with that. But it's kind of wild that it's like, it's the point of, you have this wild scientific discovery that they basically made this gravity drive that can create a black hole, and we've probably seen the famous explanation before where you take a sheet of paper and you want to get to A to B, and you basically close that gap by folding space and time, and just boom, you're there instantly. And it's still the point that like there's unforeseen things that could happen, things can go wrong, or it's like you have the concept, but then in practice it's like, oh, this is, something goes really awry, and it completely literally goes to somewhere like out of their control, and comes back. And I think that was kind of a cool angle to explore, that it basically went outside of like, I don't even know how to describe it. I guess the thing that kind of messes with your head, other than the demon messing with your head, but it's like you go to a dimension outside of space and time, and basically go to space hell and back. So that was kind of interesting. And of course, like, even if you don't see it coming a mile away, that like Sam Neill is definitely the catalyst to this whole thing. Like, not only you think he's driven by the fact that like his wife is like who he's trying to get back to, but it's really that he's just leading these people basically to their death on this ship. As for other stuff he's done, well, I wonder if he ever made a Resident Evil movie in his life. Good God. That's like the first 27 fucking things that come up are Resident Evil. I will say good job on 1 and 2, and I don't know what the hell you did for the other fucking like 8 movies. Good God. Event Horizon, Pompeii, Three Musketeers. Not the original, but whatever. Death Race was something. Ooh. I forgot he did Mortal Kombat. I mean, that's fun. Alien vs. Predator. We don't have to talk about that. Which I remember. Which one? Oh, it's the first one. Okay. Look, it mattered. Yeah. So he's. I mean, like I said, at least he's probably more known if you know, if anyone's ever heard of the Resident Evil movies. I mean, you definitely. I'm not even going to talk about Resident Evil. I'd be here for like 2 more hours if I tried to talk about that. Because I'd probably rather talk about the games, which were pretty phenomenal. The movies were something to be desired. And yes, I did even say Apocalypse because I did like it, although I hate you for what you did to Nemesis. So I'll just leave it at that.
I don't know. How about you, Tex? What do you think about the work of Paul W.S. Anderson overall and what he did with this film?
Well, I'm very happy to talk about the Resident Evil films, all 6 of them, because I loved every single fucking one of them. I was one of the like 3 people that went to the final chapter on premiere night. So I don't care how close they are to the games. Didn't really bother me. I love those movies. Now, I've been a Paul W. S. Anderson fan since Mortal Kombat. I mean, hell, I just saw a movie he did this year in the Lost Lands with Mila Jovovich and Dave Bautista. It's like a Mad Max Western nuclear apocalypse movie with werewolves and monsters. Like it's a gnarly movie. Yeah, I'm a big Paul W. S. Anderson fan. He's like Rob Zombie. He's like so many directors. He has his actors, and of course, he's married to Mila Jovovich, stars in so many of his films. But you know what? If you've got a smoking hot movie star wife, I'd put her in there too. So I can't blame the guy. But he's one of those guys that knows his style, and whether you like it or not, he's going to do his thing. And I appreciate that, like a Zombie or a Snyder or so many people. And you know, he's got a look. A lot of his movies, he's got a format and a flow that he likes to work with. You can tell when you're watching a Anderson film, even if you didn't know his name was attached to it. And that's one of the things I like about him. I grew up watching the Resident Evil movies and, you know, Activate Project Alice. You know, it's not in the games, but, you know, still a fun watch. So I enjoyed all of them.
Yeah, I'm sitting here looking at some of the stuff in his future and canceled projects, and there's some pretty interesting stuff there. But look, I think he is the one person that has managed to touch kind of 2 different video game franchises and make decent movies. I know people shit on the Resident Evil series for a lot of reasons, and those are valid reasons, but I still think they're wildly entertaining. They're
fun movies, though.
They're fun.
They're popcorn movies.
Yeah,
no, I didn't say that. They're entertaining.
Yeah, they're not meant to be Oppenheimer. They're not meant to be, you know, Dr. Zhivago. They're not meant to be one of these great.
They're video games. They're fun.
They're video game movies. And I'm not going to lie. I even like the first Mortal Kombat movie from 1995.
I love the first Mortal Kombat.
It's goofy and stupid. It's kind of a live action cartoon, but it's fun. I'm not going to lie. It's a fun movie.
I mean, like, what else were you going to do? That's just kind of all it is. That's all it needed to be.
Yeah.
Now, as for the second one, I mean, I don't know what happened there.
Yeah, I mean, Soldier, terrible movie, not good. Alien versus Predator wasn't terrible. You had to do something to shake up both those franchises, and combining them was kind of the only thing.
Oh, what did he do?
It wasn't.
In 2020, he came out with Monster Hunter, which is pretty good as well. Like it was one of those pandemic movies, but still a pretty fun movie to watch.
That's 3 then. That's also a video game.
Is it? I didn't know that was a video game, but yeah, he did.
Monster Hunter's a video game, yeah.
That movie got killed because all the theater lockdowns and whatever. But that was another really good. Well, it's not a good movie, but it's a Paul W. You know, it's a fun movie.
That's right,
Wasn't Jovovich also in that?
Oh yeah.
Yes.
I remember now.
Yes.
I never saw
it. Yes.
Well,
no, it was good.
I think
I went to go see it.
I think she's also fans of some of these games. I think it might also be why, because I'm like, for someone who's done
that would make sense.
I mean, yeah, for someone who's in all these video game movies, obviously she wasn't in Mortal Kombat, but hey, you know what? Put her in the new one, even though it's not him. But hey, put her in the new one. I don't care.
I can't wait for it.
For a relatively short resume,
make her Sonya Blade. Make her Sonya Blade. That'd be sweet.
I don't know. I'm kind of. I don't know. I'm already. It's already looking like this modern Mortal Kombat thing is kind of going off the rails a little bit. But the one movie I never saw
off the rails. You're talking about somebody who can pull somebody's spine with their head still attached to somebody's body. I mean,
it's going to become
it's Mortal Kombat.
It's going to become a big production thing rather than let's just make a good movie. And when that starts to happen, that's when things start to get off there. That's when things start to go wrong. I mean, we'll. I mean,
the new one was okay.
We'll talk. I mean, we'll talk about it a little bit with this movie as we go on. But I mean, once it becomes, we're going to try to stretch this out to make more money than whatever. But he also did Pompeii, which I never got around to seeing. I don't know if it's any good or not. I didn't hear a whole lot of people talking about it because, quite frankly, it was one of those really weird movies that I didn't know if it was going to be a disaster movie or real character driven or just special effects driven. I didn't know what it was going to be, and I never got around to watching it. But he does have something coming up. Let me get this something in the future plans that you might be interested in, Jeremy. It says here that Anderson is set to write and direct an upcoming film adaptation of the House of the Dead video game, specifically its third canonical installment. The film is set to begin production mid to late this year.
Jesus Christ.
I wonder if it's going to be a sequel of the original ones that came out in the early 2000s or a remake. Though. That's what I don't know.
It's fucking horn.
I don't know,
wear it with this
but we'll find out.
Well, I mean, if it's, I don't know. It's zombies, so it's not like it's.
It's probably a remake. If I had gun to my head, I'd say probably a remake.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, though, it's not like that series is a hard thing to accomplish. I don't know.
Right.
Yeah, just as principal photography is set to begin mid to late 2025. So whether that actually happens or not, who the hell knows? But
I love playing House of the Dead at my childhood theater growing up. That was one of the arcade machines that the theater had in the lobby when you would go in. We pumped so many freaking quarters into that freaking game.
I was gonna say,
for years we played that thing. Great.
I've played quite a bit of House of the Dead as well.
Yeah,
I
love what he did with this movie as a director. I mean, it's a very well put together movie. I kind of like the fact, but I think this is one of the things that held it back a little bit. I kind of like the fact that he saved a lot of the gore till the third act, because the gore is pretty good. And I like the fact that he didn't blow his wad like 5 minutes into the movie, except for when you see this guy floating around. This scene right here, it was cool, and you get that quick little visual early in the movie, and then the rest of the movie is all tension building. It's all like, why are people seeing shit? A couple little visuals here and there, like when the girl sees her son and his legs are all jacked up, yada yada, things like that. They kind of tease what's coming before you get to the full-on stuff where people's faces are carved up and people are gouging their eyes out, and you get that little glimpse of the ship's log when everybody's tearing each other apart. But I kind of like how he saved it for the end. I think that's one of the things that you can do in a good monster movie that makes it funner when you finally see the monster. Is like you never see him until like right at the end of the second or into the third act before all hell breaks loose. That's when you see the monster come out. So I thought that was actually pretty interesting. I think it made all the gore and the intenseness of the visuals, I think it made it pop a lot harder when you finally get a chance to see some of this stuff. I mean, you got some cool stuff, visuals like this along different points of the movie where you're seeing the eyes ripped out or whatever. You see quick little glimpses of things, but he doesn't give you the hardcore stuff till later on in the movie, which I think is actually a really smart idea. But I mean, I think he's been a solid director. I'm surprised he hasn't been offered more, to be perfectly honest. He also did Death Race, which was a fun movie. I think I saw it when it first came out. I think I've seen it since. He did a Three Musketeers movie that I know it came out, but I've never watched it. I don't know.
Well,
I guess it didn't really.
I don't think he's been offered more because he is such a stylized director. Like, he is so known. Like, he's been kind of. I guess a director can get typecast. I guess a lot of the way of it. But you can't say Paul W.S. Anderson and not think, oh God, those Resident Evil. Everybody has that reaction, whether it's good or bad. But I think he kind of got typecast.
So is somebody like Tarantino. I mean,
right, but Tarantino's had a lot more financial
what a movie looks like
and critical success than Anderson has, which I would probably lean more towards Anderson than Tarantino. Big, but he hasn't had the critical or the financial success of the Tarantino to get away with it, is the argument that I would say.
Well, Tarantino's also been helped by the fact that he gets like huge stars to come do his shit.
Well, of course, yeah, no, yeah.
Whereas Paul W.S. Anderson is basically just him and his wife doing all these passion projects, and a lot of them are pretty good, especially since they got married in 2007 or whatever. And you can do shit like whatever the hell, Monster Hunter and In the Lost Lands, which I have never heard of. I don't even think it's come out yet.
It came out recently.
Okay, yeah,
it was fun. I liked it. I didn't regret seeing it.
But then again, Batista's... I do remember this now, because Batista did about 50 minutes of press for it, then it was gone. then he was
now, to be fair, Dave Batista, he has he's about as now, outside of the wrestling ring, of course, he is about as entertaining as watching paint dry. I don't like Dave Batista as an actor, but Mila Jovovich and the other things about In the Lost Lands, I really enjoy. Dave Batista couldn't give a fuck.
But let's move on now and talk about the cast. And again, a lot of these people were already pretty seasoned actors, well into their careers at this point. Not a whole lot of new faces, but damn, I mean, an absolutely loaded cast. I'll go to you first, Tex. What do you think of the cast of the film, and who stood out to you the most?
Well, I mean, you've got Sam Neill, Laurence Fishburne leading this thing, just mentally jousting back and forth. You can go with either of those, but for me, it's Sean Pertwee Smith. I thought he was kind of the heart of this movie. He's the kind of the worker bee, the dude that's just carrying the load. He's hitting the buttons, and we see him sliding chairs around and doing this. Like about 3/4 of the way there, he's the one to go after Sam Neill and want to kill him for like, hey, you're leading us to death. What's going on here? I really liked how he played in this film. Now, of course, I mean, he went on to be like Alfred in the Gotham TV show and a few other things. But I've always been a fan of this guy, and I really like how he played in this film. It's kind of he was almost kind of the heart in the way of with Fishburne and Neill kind of battling it out, which, if you've never seen this, in 5 minutes in, Sam Neill's going to be the bad guy, just the way he's acting in this thing. But for the everyman, Sean Pertwee kind of really carried it.
I don't know. Jeremy, how about you? What do you think of the cast of the movie, and who stood out to you the most?
Also, it's not like Sean Pertwee is not like casually just the son of one of like the Doctor Who's. Just saying.
Know nothing about Doctor Who.
His dad was like the second or third Doctor, something like that.
Was he? Okay.
Yeah.
So there's a
third Doctor.
A talent there within that family. I thought he was off.
Yeah, which is pretty cool. Yeah, like we said, pretty stacked cast. Sam Neill, Laurence Fishburne. I mean, those two alone. Even Jason Isaacs, as I was hilariously talking about Harry Potter a minute ago.
Right.
And because it's funny because Jason Isaacs and Jolie Richardson also, it's like they were both in The Patriot, like what, 3 or 4 years later. So they were also in that movie together. I think the person I liked the most was Cooper, played by Richard T. Jones, because it's like I love the guy who's just like the goofy comic relief guy who's just hanging on the side of a ship trying to fix the big hole in the ship and probably gently shitting his pants as he's floating off into space, trying to like oh, what do I do? What do I do? What do I do? I'm like, what are you gonna do? I'm kind of interested. What are you gonna do, man? And he just like presses his air and goes back and comedically smacks into the window and then realizes, oh shit. Like he sees all the shit going on. Like this guy doesn't know what's really happening. He was fun, but that's my pick. Other than, like I said, the obvious people of like Laurence Fishburne and Sam Neill, who were kind of more like you said, the focus of this movie. Now, as Tex said, I will say Sean Pertwee did have a pretty badass like death, where it's like one of those like he knows he's about to die. It's like there's nothing he can do about it too.
Well, when he looks down and kind of accepts it, it's like, oh fuck, like he knows there's no way out of it. Like you feel for that dude. He's about to.
Yeah, like that's what like he's panicking. He's trying to figure. And he even thought like, gotcha. He pulls it and sees the bomb. It's got like 3 seconds left, and he's like, shit, like that. Nothing you can do. That's up there with oh shit, what's Jeff Daniels in Speed. Just looks over and his face just.
Well, there's 2 ways to play that. Either it's oh no, or it's god damn it, and just look at it. And he went with the latter of the two. Thank good, because the latter of those two, it's like, oh crap, like there is nothing you could have done. Like you were making every right decision, and somehow Jason Voorhees still found it. Like there was no way out of this situation. Like that was, but hey, a good death is its own reward, as we learned in Man of Steel.
And the whole movie, he was also just kind of like, I don't want to be here. I don't want to do this. I'd rather die. And it's like, damn. Like when he actually got there, and it's just like, I think he kind of felt like, damn it, this really sucks. That's how I'm gonna die. Like,
right.
Man.
His dad, by the way, was the third Doctor Who.
Third, I thought.
John
so.
Pertwee. He started from 1970
Doctor.
to 1974.
Yes.
I tried Doctor Who, but I'm not enough of a sci-fi nerd for me to enjoy it, so it was not for me. So I didn't get it.
I could walk right over there to that box in the corner and pull out a sonic screwdriver right now. No
I
doubt.
don't know what that is, but okay.
It's the tool he uses. I know. I've seen a few episodes. It's the tool he uses in the show.
It's basically magic bullshit MacGuffin that he can use to do whatever.
Oh, okay.
It's his magic tool that can do everything. But the cast of this movie, like I said, already a bunch of people who are very, very good. People do not realize how long Laurence Fishburne's been around. He was in an episode of MASH back in 1980. He also was in like Apocalypse Now back in 1980 or 81. He's been around for a minute. So don't think that Laurence Fishburne just came on the scene when the 90s happened, like the early 90s. I think the first thing I remember.
You're telling me The Matrix wasn't his first movie?
No.
Didn't he get it?
Menace to Society or Boys in the Hood? I forget which one he was in. He played like the father figure. But he's been so.
Well, do we
good
want to talk about Cowboy Curtis?
Yeah.
Do we want to talk about it?
That's what I was going to say. I mean? Didn't he get started in Pee Wee's Playhouse or whatever? That's what I thought.
He did that for a while. No, his start goes all the way back to the early 80s.
Yeah, well, I mean, like, as we started to recognize stuff, but yeah.
But let me go back and look real quick. See, he goes back 1972. This is where he says he started.
Damn.
Let me see if I can get his film. God, his filmography has its own page. 76 on stage, 75 in film. He did Cornbread, Earl and Me, Fast Break, Apocalypse Now in 79 is the first thing I remember seeing him in.
I loved him as Perry White, though.
That he was in Death Wish 2.
Besides that stupid fucking earring, he should have took the earring out from Perry White. You know, you're the leader of the newspaper, but I love how he acted the role.
And then,
I love that.
Yeah, and then plenty of stuff on television. He was on MASH, Trapper John, all the way back to 72. Jesus Christ. He was on One Life to Live back in the early 70s. So, yeah, he'd been around for a minute. So, he's been around. But really, I mean, the one who, again, they're all very, very good. There's no performance here that is bad. But the one who stands out to me, though, has got to be Sam Neill. I mean, we did Daybreakers a while back. He is such a good bad guy. I mean, it's so easy. It's so easy to watch him in like Jurassic Park and to see him as Alan Grant, as the guy who he truly wants what's best for these animals. He wants them to have. He respects them and cares about them. This is his life. And then 3.5 seconds later, you can see him do some crazy shit like this, and it fits. It fits perfectly because of just how good he is.
Yeah.
He really is the best bad guy for this movie. And there was a couple of different casting things that could have gone down that we'll talk about later on. But, God, he is just so good. The way that he plays a good broken man. Like, when he's having these hallucinations about his dead wife and whatnot, it's like he sells that so very well. And I know it's not hard maybe to sell it. That's what actors do, after all. But like I said, I love people who act with their eyes. I say that a lot, and you can tell by the look in his eyes. Like when he has that one thing where it's like you see the camera pans over and it goes from the ship into like his old bedroom, and he's sitting there like watching as his wife is in her last moments. She runs the bath water. She brushes
doing her wrist in,
all this stuff, and then she gets in the bathtub and you see her run the razor across her wrist. It's like his facial expressions are so good at selling that moment. It's just very, very good, and the rest of the cast is fantastic. I mean,
well, it's not even just that one scene.
Too.
Yeah, the other scene where he really shines in this film for me is whenever him and like 3/4 of the way through the film, where they're just going to leave the ship, and Sam Neill, no, I'm not leaving. I can't leave. This is my home. My home is here. He's refusing to go, and Fishburne, he says, "Look, I'm getting my crew. We're getting on that fucking ship. And I'm going to shoot missiles at this fucking thing till I feel it's good God." And like the way that Sam Neill is carrying himself in that scene, like, he has fully committed to just ending everybody if it takes seeing his wife. Like, I like how he pulled that performance out.
Yeah, it's funny because in that scene is one of his great moments where he goes from pleading to like not leave because I want to figure this out to when Laurence Fishburne says no, we're getting the fuck out of here. I love how his facial expression changes as he goes, she won't let you.
It changes like that.
Into the dark, And then he backs in the darkness. I was like, damn, that's a turn. That's a great visual turn right there. I love it. That's fantastic. That was an exciting point of the movie. I was like, here comes the good stuff, man. Here comes the good stuff. And that's really where all the gore starts too. Now let's talk about the plot of the movie as well. Again, sci-fi horror goes very, very well together, but it had been a while since even since this film, we've gotten a really, really good one. Again, sci-fi horror, a fantastic mixture of things that are done right. I'll go to you first, Tex. What did you think of the plot of the film? Did it work for you? Is there anything you'd have changed?
Yeah, give me more fucking gore. Just don't give me don't fucking edge me, fucking blow me if you're gonna fucking do it. That's the number one thing I would have changed. I know this isn't a Rob Zombie Terrifier film, but I don't like to be teased with that stuff. It's like I said when I was talking about this in the beginning of the show. It's there's a plot point of I don't really know if this movie knows what it needs to be at times because it starts out we're going to rescue a ship. Like I said, this is a Star Trek episode. Then it's Hellraiser Light. The first part of this movie is very boring. I got to be honest. I would have gotten to the horror stuff quicker. Now I know I'm the blood and guts, hound over here. But to me, that's kind of why you bought the ticket, or that's why I watched anyways. But I would have gotten to that stuff quicker and highlighted more of put more time on Sam Neill and his turn into madness, and less on everybody else. Like there was a lot of characters that they really showed throughout this film. I would have put more on Sam Neill. That's just
I know, Jeremy. How about you? What do you think of the plot of the film?
Man, it's wild. It's almost like you actually have to have characters that you care about or something. And like we just said, don't blow your whole fucking wad because then what are you going to do by the end? You're like, demons? Okay. Like, you don't care. It's like the point was...
There's a way to do it without killing the whole cast in 5 minutes, but you get them.
Well, it's like building up the mystique of like what was going on, like what happened to this thing. Why is it just sitting here? Like, what's the deal? I mean, it's bonkers enough saying that, like I said, and Sam Neill describes it like, hey, we built this thing that can travel through space in like an instant, basically a black hole, wormhole type, boom thing. And at first I was like, oh yeah, I forgot this isn't like. I was gonna say another video game like Dead Space, but that's like zombies in space, so not quite the same. But yeah, and
I hadn't heard of that one before. That's cool.
Yeah, if you ever want to watch someone just play a game, look up the Dead Space series. I think would be a fun video game to movie show. Yeah, something. I feel like that could be pretty cool. That's a cool series. Until you've seen a baby zombie explode onto a fucking window and just a bunch of blood right in front of your face. I'm like, oh, we're doing that. Okay, that's fun. Tremendously great horror game. But yeah, it, like I said, it went with something different. Like I said, it basically was like, yeah, we're going to space hell, and this shit came back. And to be fair, it's like how many? This seemed like it was supposed to be like one of those under the radar type of deals where they're like, no one knows where we're going or what we're actually after, or that they kind of got pulled to the last second. Although I think a good idea would have been to have some sort of contingency in place. If they don't come back, they don't radio back in like a week. Like, hey, maybe go check that out. But I mean, I guess the point was, as we saw in the end, I guess the point was that like you never leave, and Sam Neill's always going to be in your head. Because then it started with ended with Julie Richardson like freaking her shit out because she came out of the pod and was like seeing him and then being rescued. But you kind of know it's all for naught, and the cycle just keeps going. So it was interesting. Like I said, it could have gone anywhere, and it went straight to hell, and I was kind of okay with that. It was different.
Yeah, I like the plot. Again, sci-fi horror works out pretty well together. There's a pretty good combination because there is something inherently scary about the vastness and blackness of space. But the fact that this ship comes back after a long time with no known idea as to why shit happened the way it did. You got to go investigate it, and you discover these things as time goes on. I love the visual that they put up there of like searching for life signs, and the whole ship has got this weird like yellow and red glow, like the whole thing is alive. I thought that was actually kind of a wild way to kind of foreshadow exactly what the problem was of this ship bringing back an evil that just kind of encompasses the whole thing. I appreciated the slow burn of the visuals. I kind of liked it. It builds tension. You got to build a little bit of tension. It's hard to do that if like the first thing you see is somebody's transected body. That's why I like the fact that you got that shot with the guy floating around the bridge in front of the window before you got some of the heavier stuff like this. It's like before you got the really twisted kind of stuff that freaks a lot of people out. I thought the plot was fantastic. I mean, crazy ship, technology, it kind of leans into that at first, and you realize that technology has nothing to do with it. There's just some kind of evil has attached itself to the ship that you could explain to be like a Mike Myers. He's evil. It's evil because it's evil. It's not evil for any other reason other than the fact that it just exists as evil, and that's what the ship is now.
Can't kill the boogeyman.
Yeah, you can't kill it unless you want to blow it up and let it send it into a black hole.
No, they've blown him up. I've seen that film like 3 times, like 3 different versions. I've seen him shot to death. I've seen his head cut off. Like there ain't no way.
It wasn't really him, though. That was the dumbest thing ever.
But movie
I'm
magic.
sorry, but that was too goofy.
But movie magic. But I love the plot. Like I said, I really appreciate it.
It's super easy, barely an inconvenience for him to come back.
Just a little switcheroo with the outfit, and boom, new sequel.
But didn't she chop his head off at the last movie?
It was super easy, barely an inconvenience.
God damn it!
No, he crushed the voice box of an ambulance driver, swapped new clothes with him, which was once again not the first time Michael Myers did that. Shout out to Halloween 6 and the Man in Black, and he's off to go kill more people. So the shit never does. All good.
That's
thorn people.
Flag.
That's just cheating. That's bad writing.
Not cheating if you win. I mean, that's kind of how it is with these serial killers and horror movies.
But no, I love the slow burn of this whole thing. I love the way it builds up to this explosion of crazy gore and people gouging their own eyes out, and people get shot out airlocks and stuff like that. I love how it builds up to that. It builds that tension, then it gives you the visuals. And then it just blows the rest of the story up from there. It's just like it's an orgasm of everything all over you all at the same time in the third act, which is sometimes that's how you put together a movie that have an effective ending. That's why I kind of like the plot. But let's take a minute now and talk about the stuff that I know you guys love, the visuals. I mean, there's so many. Like I said, they save a lot of the gore until the second half of the movie, but it is spectacular. It is terrifying. It is in your face. It is unapologetic, and I love everything about it. Jeremy, you do this kind of stuff in real life. You know how to make this stuff actually work. Give me some of your thoughts on the way this stuff looks on camera, and do these special effects hold up to you even now?
Well, yeah, like if you keep that up for just a hot second, I was like, that right there. I mean, like, you give me like, I don't know, like an hour. I could probably do that real easy. That excuse me, that's not too hard to do. That still looks pretty decent. That looks like some good work you do for a haunt, making a lot of cuts and open wounds on your face. A lot of the other stuff, just even tonally, like we were talking about, when I was saying like why it felt like Alien is like when they first get on the ship, it's like it's real dark. There's no power on the ship. It's just them kind of stumbling around in the dark, looking for stuff. And that also lends itself to like, as I said, like, as we know, I work in a haunt too, and it being dark does lend to it. Because if you can't see what's in the dark, I mean, that's also kind of terrifying in itself because your mind's playing tricks on you. I wish I could remember which video it was I saw that like describes the difference between difference between horror and something else. It's like one is like you see it, and the other one is something you don't see, which is inherently more terrifying. Because your mind's
dread or something.
The assumed horror. Yeah,
it's something like that. It's like horror and something else. It was a guy reviewing a horror video game. And I have to like go back and find it.
But yeah, it's still I'd say it still looks pretty good. Like you got some mangled bodies. Now the practical stuff. I mean, there's some of the stuff that the goop flying around the ship. It's like looks like it came out of a video game from 1997 as well, like on a PlayStation 1.
Yeah.
But whatever. I'm like, I don't care. I get it. It's not going to be top notch, but I will say, like, the practical stuff, they did nail it on the head pretty cool. Like with I don't think it was that shot before, but it was where the lady like fell down and she basically just like shattered.
Oh yeah.
That was pretty.
Probably the most tragic death of the whole movie was whenever the mom went down.
Yeah, right there, like where the mom fell and like basically shattered on that like that floor down there, and her blood just filled up the pool around the little gateway. And I mean, also you get a bonus there of Sam Neill like gouging his own eyes out, which was pretty cool. Yeah, that looks pretty cool. I mean, we even saw something like that in it reminds me of The Walking Dead, like when Carl got his eye shot out. Which spoilers. I mean, also if you read the comic, you know what happens. But that looks pretty cool. It doesn't look quite as goofy. I mean, again, that's not too hard of a thing to do. Just some black cloth, and you just build it up. And there's not really a way to screw it up. That's the thing I try to tell people. It's like, it's not really like, just throw some blood on it, throw some latex, rip it out. If you rip it, who cares? Fill it in with some scab blood, some sticky shit. I don't know. Make it look nasty. And that's kind of what they did, and I think it looks awesome.
Yeah, Tex, how about you? You watch everything gore. How does the special effects? How does it hold up
Guilty as charged
later?
Well, I'm going to kind of tag team on what Jeremy was just saying. The practical effects in this movie look great. I mean, I'd say the highlights are probably like obviously Sam Neill looking like Chucky right there with the fucked up face. I mean, come on, that's how can you not see that? But the other two examples,
he might look
really,
like Freddy Krueger,
or Krueger, but the kid's legs whenever the mom has the hallucination of him in that tent or whatever, and we get to see the practical makeup work, the way the kid's legs. That to me, obviously because it's a child with body trauma, that's going to affect harder, and it looked really well. And then when the kid is laying on the surgical table and he just starts stroking out and then puking up blood and whatever was in him, and he's like freaking out and losing it or whatever. I love the way that looked. Now, once again, to jump on something he said, this is clearly a 90s CGI and not a very good one, because like when that's damn it.
Uh-oh.
Hello?
Good?
Yeah, we hear
You
you.
got me?
Go here. Yeah.
We good? Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, somebody called me. No, whenever that same dude is thrown into space and the like CG blood fest happens that looks like it's on a PlayStation 1 graphics, that looked horrible. Like, okay, this looks pretty bad. And if you slow down, all of those glimpses of hell when like the barbed wire is showing, like those scenes look really good in like a montage, but don't look at them individually because once again the CGI does not look great. Basically, some might say practical effects are better than CGI. I don't think anybody's ever said that before, especially on YouTube, but maybe that's just a better way to do it. I will forgive some things on this film because it's not an expensive movie and they haven't perfected the art yet. You know what I mean? So they are what they are.
I just remembered something else. I think it was Jason Isaac's character when he got like fucking filleted and like laid out in that ship.
Oh.
Like that was some horrifying graphic shit right there.
Yeah, I thought I had a picture of that. For some reason, a couple of them didn't load the way I wanted them to.
Yeah, I was like trying to remember like all the other stuff that happened. I was like, that's right, he got like gutted open and it reminded me of nope. It's moments before disaster. Kind of reminded me of what's her face from from Saw when she got like filleted open, like little butterfly fillet thing.
The detective trap, where
Yeah.
she's in the angel wing trap. Yeah.
Yeah. It kind of reminded me of that, like in a weird way. That was a brutal death as well.
Now, what was that? What was that movie? I believe it was with Jodie Foster, where Millennium or whatever, where they had to go to space and that oh shit, what was the fucking movie? I can't remember the name of it right now. There was like the only one spaceship that was going to save the universe, but they blew it up. Jake Busey blew it up, and
that movie is called Contact.
Contact.
Oh, yeah.
The power battery for the ship in this film. Tell me they didn't steal that shit from Contact, because that shit looks exactly the fucking same. Like it looks exactly like the same thing. I did think that.
They came out about the same time.
Like very similar designs. Now it's
97.
okay. Well, there you go. So somebody copied somebody's homework. That's all I'm saying, because both machines look very similar. But yeah.
Let's see. Maybe they came out like a month apart. So
okay. Well,
maybe.
I mean,
Contact came out in July,
it could
this
be.
Came out in August.
It could be that it's just it's actually based off of something real, so that's why it's shared. But I will say they're very similar, engineering feats. But it is what it is.
Yeah. They came out about a month apart. Yeah, I love the visuals, especially when shit really pops off in the third act. You get some really killer shit. Now, I will admit the CGI at a couple points in the movie they did not hold up. They did not stand the test of time. When they first go onto the ship and you see the things floating around, I'm like, they may as well have been drawn in with crayon. They just look so bad. It's like my 5-year-old nephew could have scribbled some shit on the frame on the film that would have looked just as good. And like this part right here did not look good at all. It did not hold up. I mean, in context to the scene, I kind of like didn't care so much. But as I'm sitting here watching it, I'm like, wow, there is some not good stuff going on here. I do love.
I think you're trying to. Go ahead.
No, I just say I love the practical stuff. The stuff like this.
Oh, that
yeah. The stuff like this when they're able to like put him in some kind
That's
of.
fucking Pinhead without the goddamn nails.
Yeah,
pretty much.
Yeah, this
That's all
practical
that
stuff
is.
I thought was fantastic.
That's the Hell Priest. Prove to me that's not the Hell Priest. Nails.
Yeah, the practical stuff like this I thought was beautifully done. I think it still looks great now. But like I said, there was I think part of the reason why they may have held a lot of visuals till the last part of the film was because they knew that some of this stuff maybe wasn't going to stand the test of time very well. So if you hide some of the really shitty ones and with the really good ones, maybe they just happen so fast that people just won't notice. But I thought the visuals were fantastic. I mean, especially the second half of the movie.
I think excuse me. I think the thing with his him being Laurence Fishburne, him see that picture you had up there with the guy on fire, him having the vision of his buddy that he
crew member that he left.
Yeah, the friend that he left behind to die, and basically so that he could live. I mean, it looks a little awkward because it's like I know it's like you're trying to do a fire stunt, but also like act. So I'm like, it's kind of probably a hard thing to do, to be honest, because when you're doing fire stunts, you're kind of just you're literally on fire and you're probably rolling around or doing some action shot or some stunt thing, and then but to just stand still like that and then do that. I mean, now with all that stuff, he could be wearing like a suit with like some protective stuff over it, and you could probably light him on fire, but like you're still literally playing with fire trying to make that work. I know that's why that looks awkward, and I get the point. Like
most times,
I get it.
If they're doing a fire stunt, they're not going to act like up close filming a scene while doing a fire stunt. I mean, hell, look at Kane Hodder. He's the professor of the fire stunt to the point where it cost him his own flesh. I mean, if you haven't looked into that story, they made a whole documentary about it. But it's I think I would say that fire looked CG to me, and it didn't look great, like Frank was saying a minute ago.
I think it's supposed
But
to be, yeah.
it's, I mean, once again, if many Paul W.S. Anderson films rely on sometimes dodgy CGI. I mean, there's even into his newest movie, In the Lost Lands, that one that just come out, there's some CG shots in there that you would have, if you didn't know what year the film that the movie came out in, you would have said like 2001, because a lot of the shots in that film look a lot like the shots in this one, just a little bit better with newer technology. So I think that's maybe his effect on the movie. So makes sense to me anyway.
But yeah, let's talk now about the potential future of this particular this particular IP. There's talk out there. Let me give you a little bit about what I've read about the potential for what could have been and what could still be. In December of 2011, Paul W.S. Anderson and his production partner Jeremy Bolt stated that there have been ongoing discussions to explore additional movies that would expand the Event Horizon story in the form of a prequel and a sequel. Potential stories to be developed included the first crew aboard the Event Horizon and their mission that led to their disappearance for 7 years, as well as a continuation film detailing the events that followed the rescue of Stark, Cooper, and Justin. But by October of 2020, however, after years of no development, Anderson said that he had not returned to the property in any continuation because he did not want to take away from the experience of the original film. So that idea, done for. But there's a potential still out there for a television series. By Adam Wingard. In August of 2019, a television series based on the film was reported to be in development by Paramount and Amazon. Adam Wingard was to direct the series, in addition serving as executive producer alongside a bunch of people who previously held producer roles in the original feature film on this film. In March of 2024, Wingard provided a brief update stating, "It's definitely in the works. I've just been in Godzilla land for so long. I wouldn't say that there's definitive traction in terms of moving forward, but we have a fucking amazing script. Once this movie is over, it's just about refocusing my attention towards getting that set up." So obviously he still wants to do it. He still wants to get involved, and there's still a lot of hope for some kind of television show that Adam Wingard is going to do that explores this universe a little bit more. I'll go to you first, Jeremy. You think it's a good idea or a bad idea?
I was definitely not going down a rabbit hole, and I was not listening. Is it a sequel?
I don't know what it just says. Let's see.
It's not a good start when I say is it a sequel. You're like,
it doesn't really say. It just says Adam Wingard wants to direct a series in addition to serving as an EP alongside Gordon, Lynn, and Platt, who previously held producer roles in the original film. Wingard said something is definitely in the works, but he's been busy doing Godzilla. But once that movie's over, he wants to refocus his attention towards getting this project based on Event Horizon setup. So it doesn't really say what he wants to do with it: sequel, prequel, reboot, whatever.
Because I know Adam Wingard's doing the next King Kong Godzilla film. I don't know if they're in production right now, but he's directing that one to make his trilogy.
I don't know. Just it's shit. This movie's what 97. So you're
Almost
talking
30
already.
years
Yeah, I was like, you're pushing 30 now, so you know my feelings about anything that didn't come out when it should have. So
I don't know.
not to say it couldn't be prettied up and done well.
True.
Fair.
True. I don't know. Tex, what do you think? Do you think it's a good idea to move into the future with some new IP, or do we just let this one exist the way it is?
I don't know. I don't think this IP has enough of a fan base. Oh my God, yes, make another one tomorrow. I don't. I mean, besides the hardcore movie fans, I've never had a conversation with anybody about, oh my God, I love Event Horizon so much. It's my favorite. I've met very few people who have said that. So purposely going out to remake this just because I don't think the name Event Horizon is big enough to constitute a remake or something. Now, as good of a director as I think Adam Wingard is, I could see, I mean, let's think, we just had the new Alien come out, which was basically Alien 1.5. It was kind of a remake of the first one, and I could see riding the coattails of that with an Event Horizon property, but I don't think people are beating down the doors to give anybody money to see a remake of this movie. Will it happen? Sure, eventually everything's going to get made because creativity is dead. But I don't think people are just, throwing wallets in the air.
Well, I mean, like, you guys know what I think about remakes. I mean, or whatever. I mean, if you do it, you got a good story, shoot your shot. If you suck, then we've always got the original to enjoy. If you make a good movie, then we have two movies to enjoy. But a lot of it is a lot of it's going to depend on what you want to do. If you want it to be a remake, there are certain things you're going to have to do to make this work. If you want it to be a sequel or a prequel, there are different things you're going to have to do to make that work. So, not knowing right now what the direction of this is going to be, it's hard to say how to make it good, how to make it bad, or whether it will work or not. Don't know anything about casting. I mean, are you going to be able to get any of the existing cast back? Joey Richards is still out there. I mean, but Sam Neill his character's dead. His character could conceivably come back. As to Laurence Fishburne, because you don't actually see them die at the end of the movie. They just get sucked into hell. Is there some kind of a return? I don't know that Laurence Fishburne would want to come back for this anyway. But it really it depends. I mean, look, I'm not saying legacy sequels don't work because lately they've been working.
I think a TV show would be better than a movie.
I almost would rather see like a limited series, like somewhere like 5 to 8 episodes. Yeah, but part of me
do like what Mike Flanagan did with the House on Haunted Hill kind of thing. That could work.
I don't know. Like it depends on how you want to tell the story. Because if you want to tell a story that's really involved, where you get into the what is it that they went to? Because they never really explain what it is in this movie. They call it hell, but is it someplace so far away that
they never say it's like Christian hell or something? They don't specify.
They say hell kind of as the visual, not as it is actually like the opposite.
Hell is only a word
that most people think of, and I think that's one of the reasons why they put that line in there. It's like they don't want to tie it down to one kind of idea as to what that place is, and you never actually see it, so it could be anything. But so it depends. Do you want to explore that? Because if you explore that, I wouldn't mind something that goes more than a movie, maybe a limited series. But if it's going to be just another rescue tale, like we're going to send somebody in to go get Laurence Fishburne's character and to go take care of that evil Sam Neill asshole once and for all, if it's going to be something like that. It's going to happen more I think it should happen more in a film setting. 2 hours of whatever you're going to do. But it depends. I mean, with not knowing what they want this story to be, it's kind of hard to make a guess as to what it should be. So, I mean, personally, I'd like to see a movie. If you want to tell something that's really long and drawn out, more philosophical and less about gore, I think an anthology series, like I said, 5 to 8 episodes would be the best. But if you want to stick with the gore that this movie has established, I think you're much better off just making it a movie and going balls deep on the visuals.
Fuck, just tie it in with fucking Hellraiser. Who gives a fuck?
Not everything has to be a shared universe.
Well, I'm just saying, if you were going to do it, this one would be perfect. I mean, here's a cube that came out of nowhere. How to get on a fucking Pinhead's already been to space. I mean, it's not a far stretch here. But just saying. So
it's not a far stretch, but what's going to happen is you're going to have somebody like me that just kind of rolls his eyes. It's like, really? You have to connect these two things just to have brand IP team up energy so that you can try to
right. But
some of these things from Hellraiser.
Hollywood today doesn't have movie stars, though. They have IPs. That's why we get so many remakes and requels and sequels.
Who drives the IP? I mean, you can't tell me that the Mission Impossible movies are being driven because they're good movies. They're driven because
but my point is,
Tom Cruise.
We don't have movie stars like we did 30 years ago. We have brands and franchises. That's why you have a new Batman every 5 years, a new Spider-Man, a new whatever. So that could be a way to revive.
I think we don't have as many big name actors as we had 30 years
ago. Maybe 3. I could argue like maybe 5. Not a lot.
Yeah, we certainly don't have as many, but they're still there.
Yeah.
They're still there. But let's get into some trivia now, and I've got plenty to dig from this movie because it was so awesome. Let me try to find I don't know. I'll just go with this picture because it's the first one I picked. Although the film met with mostly negative reviews and a disappointing box office result at the time of its release, it amassed a considerable cult following over the years. Director Paul W.S. Anderson said that the movie's cult status was predicted to him years before by Kurt Russell, of all people. Anderson screened Event Horizon before they started work on Soldier, which came out in 1998, and Russell said, "Forget about what this movie is doing now in 15 years' time. you're going to be glad you made this movie.
Well, I mean,
Well, if Snake Plissken tells you, you can trust it. So I'll take his word.
It's just too bad Soldier was such a terrible movie.
Well,
You could have saved some of that good filmmaking for Kurt Russell. You know what I mean? Because that movie's just bad. That movie's just not good. The actiony stuff I remember being pretty good. I think I saw the movie once right around the time it first came out, and I was just like, that was a movie, and there was explosions, and I'm going to go home now.
that was an hour and a half. I'm never going to get
that happened, and I was probably high when I saw it, which is probably the only thing that made me enjoy even the actiony stuff. But let's see. Having just done a PG-13 movie in Mortal Kombat, which came out in 1995, Paul W.S. Anderson was very keen to do something more mature and gruesome. This is why he turned down the chance to direct X-Men to do this film.
Oh, I'd love to see a Paul W.S. Anderson X-Men movie. That'd be cool.
It could have been interesting. Well, they weren't owned by Disney then. Fox. I don't know if Fox would have let him go a darker angle, because they're thinking about selling toys and shit too. But it would have been interesting to see that go a little bit darker.
I'd have been down for that.
Let's see. If you can believe this, from greenlighting to completion of the film took 10 months, an unusually short time for such a complex and effects-driven film.
That's not bad.
There's a reason why. There's a reason why, though.
I mean, but with what you did, I mean, shit, not bad.
Because as I was reading about it, I don't think I put anything of this in my trivia, so I think I can go into this now. That was the year Titanic came out.
Okay.
And eventually, Titanic pushed its release date from what would have been in the summer back to something late fall, which is where it would eventually release. They very badly wanted to get out something they thought could rake the box office for a little while before Titanic dropped, because they knew that Titanic was going to suck all the air out of the room. So, because they're like, James Cameron, epic thing. We know what happens when James Cameron does epic things. He owns the box office for 18 months. So we're gonna try this movie out now. So rather than having what would usually be something like 10 to 12 weeks to edit after principal photography was done, 10 to 12 weeks to edit and squeeze in a couple of reshoots, because back in 1996, whenever they were filming this, reshoots weren't always a big thing. I mean, they are now because of the Marvel movies, but back then reshoots weren't as extensive. That turned down to a little bit less than 4 weeks. So 4 weeks to edit, squeeze in the occasional reshoot for what you could do, and the fact that the studio did not. They asked for a lot of edits, because apparently this movie would have been more gory, but the studio wanted a lot of stuff cut out of it because of test screenings and stuff like that. So,
well, even for that, I mean, two examples on one on each side. Like when Toby Hooper was doing Chainsaw in '74, he spent 8 months editing that film, with fractions of a second off of scenes. There's hundreds of cuts in that film. But on the other side, you have something like Halloween Kills that I think for the production for that film was less than 30 days, and it was out by the next year. I mean, they can do this pretty quick. So, I mean, a 10-month, production time all the way through is not crazy. I mean, it's been done many times.
It's not crazy for a film that doesn't rely so heavily on special effects. Because special effects take a lot of time.
Right.
I mean, if you think about it, take a movie like The Avengers, they'll shoot an Avengers movie in about 4 months. They take something like a year or more to do the effects work. So the actual time the actors are on set, 3-4 months, and then another 12 of VFX and post. So, but you're talking now. I know I'm not exactly comparing apples to apples here. The Avengers stuff. Every one of the Marvel movies has a lot of stuff. But in this one, there's a lot of practical stuff because of the nature of it all. And they're probably not as heavy CGI stuff, but still. I mean, you're talking something very special effects heavy. I mean, I've got one here in a minute about Sam Neill and what he went through to have this look, which is the most awesome look in the movie.
Something that I would say is more comparable to this film. Well, look at the Nightmare on Elm Street films in the 80s. They were doing one of those a year for 6 years, 5 to 6 years in a row. So
they were also recycling a lot of elements, a lot of equipment, a lot of things.
true, but still to even
I would
crank that
imagine
work
I
out
would
with
imagine that first movie did not get cranked out that fast. Well, maybe it did because
I don't know the production time off the top of my head for Nightmare 1, but those sequels, when they got more crazy with the CG and the whatever, it was, a little over a decade before this movie, but, it can be done within a year. It's just, you're rushing on the product. You're not taking your time with it. Something like you were talking about with Marvel, yeah, they go over with fine-tooth comb, whether it's good or bad, and, how many reshoots it's like. That's another argument.
For real. Let's see. Among those in the audience in 1997 was Galaxy Quest screenwriter Robert Gordon, who was amused enough by the notion of the meat grinder tunnel that in response he created Galaxy Quest's famous corridor filled with chompers.
Oh, okay.
Inspired a scene in Galaxy Quest.
Nice.
Well, and I can tell you right now that we literally have something like that in our haunt. There's just a metal bridge, and then there's a big swirly tunnel that it'll churn your stomach because you start holding on to the rails. You feel like you're rolling over. It's freaky.
Right.
All you gotta do is just look down and just walk. I mean, you'll be fine, but it's very similar.
And Tex already touched on it. Clive Barker, whose movie Hellraiser in 1987 was a huge influence in this film, actually consulted on the project during pre-production.
Oh yeah,
Really?
Hence some of the visuals, I would imagine.
Right.
yeah. He looks like a newborn Cenobite.
Yeah, that's like I said. That's the Hell Priest without the nails in it. The
Yeah,
BDSM outfit. I mean, that's basically what that is. Yeah.
pretty much.
Let's see. Here's some interesting casting that could have happened. Remember, this is mid-90s when they were casting and shooting this. So keep that in mind when I give you some of these names. Scott Glenn, Bill Pullman both turned down the role of Dr. William Ware. I clicked the wrong one.
Oh wow! I'd have been fine with either of them.
Well, hold on. I think he probably was doing Independence Day, right?
Pullman was Independence Day came out in
96?
right around then. So he might have been too busy with Independence Day.
Yeah. So
Scott Glenn? I don't know.
I've been fine with it.
JSP says you want to be impressed with the production of a movie. Look at the production of Terminator 2. I've read a lot about Terminator 2 and its production. He said from worrying the script to casting release went from May 1990 to July 4th week in 1991. Oh yeah, but again, a lot of it is the way that Cameron makes movies. It's not so much the way that the movie making is done. Cameron is he's a detail guy. He's a detail guy.
Oh yeah,
it's taken him 157 years to make Avatar 2.
Well, yeah, that's why it took like 10 years they had to make the technology to make all these Avatar sequels. Like, they had to just make the stuff in the order to make this stuff. So that's a whole nother conversation.
I appreciate your world building, but can you not make a movie every 20 years? Jesus, man.
I mean, it doesn't help the fact that
years to make a movie, and he keeps the one previous movie he just made in the theater for 19 years and being like, "Oh, look at me, I'm the best."
Well, I mean, if James Cameron didn't have 15 ex-wives he was paying alimony to, he wouldn't have to keep making Avatar. But here we are.
Back in time, my guy.
Just saying.
Get a couple timelines to fix there, buddy.
Why do you think there's so many crappy Terminator movies? Because that ex-wife needs that new Lexus that just came out. So. He's going to pay somebody.
Apparently, let's see. Hollywood Reporter is saying that both David Cornsweet, Rachel Brosnahan, and Nicholas Hoult, they're all on the stage right now talking about Superman up at CinemaCon.
Yeah, they're at CinemaCon's going on right now. They're going to be showing Superman and Fantastic Four and Jurassic Park. Who gives a fuck footage? Whatever, I don't know.
Earth or whatever the hell.
Oh, I care.
Yeah, Jurassic Park in space. At this point, I don't really know. Yeah. I know Gamer probably wants to choke me for what I just said about his beloved. He can yell at me later. I deserve it.
JSP said Cameron only has a handful of movies on his resume. He had a lot early in his career, but from Titanic to his next film was like 10 years.
Yeah, but
he didn't put another film for like 15.
Right.
But when Cameron wasn't making movies, he's one of the biggest names in Hollywood for what he was doing behind the scenes within the movie business itself. I mean, there's so many things that wouldn't exist, which I say this not being a James Cameron supporter, fuck that guy. But if it wasn't for James Cameron, the modern cinematic experience would not be what it is today. So, him and Spielberg, I would say.
Creative guys, you want to know how Lucas made a lot of his money? George Lucas?
Well, he was smart and kept the merchandising rights, but yeah.
Not just that. Some of the image technology that he created over the years for stuff like Star Wars is actually actually used in medical imaging technology. So he owns the patent on
cool.
it is.
You watch about any movie, you'll scroll down to the bottom of the credits and see Skywalker Sound, Skywalker Ranch, and there's a reason why that shit is, ILM.
Oh yeah.
Industrial Light and Magic. Like, that's why that is a powerhouse for making movies.
Yeah.
No
plan. Also, what's up,
George
Alex?
Lucas has $20 cajillion dollars, and he dresses like he's wearing $20, Target jeans, and you never know he was a cajillionaire. So you gotta love it. So, it's all good.
Where's the one picture that I wanted to use for this? I don't know what I did with it. I lost it somewhere. I think I may have accidentally deleted it. It's right here. Let's see. Again, remember, mid-90s, so don't laugh at too many of these. Arnold Schwarzenegger, Tommy Lee Jones, and Bruce Willis were considered for the role of Captain Miller.
Okay. No, Tommy Lee Jones, he would have still, great actor, but no. Bruce Willis, he was over there jerking off the Die Hard movie, so he was busy.
Trust me, he was probably making a Die Hard movie.
Was he?
He probably was.
Or was he doing Armageddon?
Oh, yeah, he was out.
He was out, right?
Armageddon.
He was out drilling asteroids and.
Yeah. See, I still got it. I was like, yeah, it was 98.
But hey, Bruce Willis, when it comes to Armageddon, he didn't want to miss a thing. Am I right, guys? Hey yo.
Career.
Yippee-ki-yay,
Let's see. Last Boy Scout.
He was out there telling Mr. Affleck to stay away from his daughter.
Color of Night, 94.
I think Schwarzenegger would have been too distracting. I mean, he's Arnie, so.
If they would have cast Schwarzenegger, there would have been a get to the chopper or get to the escape plane.
Get to the lifeboat.
Yeah, get to the lifeboat. They would have eye rolled, and it would not have been.
In 96, he did Last Man Standing. He also did the voice of Muddy Grimes in Beavis and Butthead Do America. Great movie. In 97, he actually had two pretty big movies. The other one came out in 1997. He had Fifth Element.
Batman, right?
97. No, Fifth Element came out in 97. No, I'm talking about Bruce Willis.
I was thinking Schwarzenegger.
Bruce Willis had The Fifth Element, The Jackal, and a movie called Broadway Brawler come out in 1997.
Oh, no.
And in 1998,
Fifth Element's good.
Mercury Rising and Armageddon, as well as The Siege, which I don't remember if I ever saw that one or not. I might have to look into that. Oh, I remember that movie now. Okay, I remember that now. Okay. So, yeah, he was busy. He had shit going on.
Yeah, Bruce Willis was killing it.
But, yeah, Bruce Willis, I can kind of see. Schwarzenegger would have... He's one of those guys at the time, he would have demanded that it become more of a straight-up action film and rather not the horror elements, because has Schwarzenegger ever done like a real horror movie? I know he did that.
Yeah, Batman and Robin. Have you not seen that?
Predator. It's not horror, but it's
Batman and Robin's the scariest thing I've ever seen.
I don't consider Predator a horror movie either.
I'm saying it's not horror, but like
no. Predator's an action film with horror elements, which it's the greatest action. Yeah. Predator is the greatest action movie ever made, and I will fight anybody who says otherwise.
I don't even think it has that many horror elements. I mean, yeah, the alien tears some people apart, and there's some like people that are skinned.
It's like the cat and mouse game between him and but
I don't think he's ever really been in a straight up horror movie. Now, JSP raised an interesting point. The Terminator has elements. I think the first Terminator is a little bit more of a horror film. The second Terminator, the whole franchise dives deep into action.
He's kind of the first one. He's kind of got like a Michael Myers type like stalking vibe where he's just trying to kill Sarah Connor.
Yeah, but I don't consider. I've never considered Terminator. Terminator has death scenes. It doesn't have horror scenes. Right? There's a difference there for me. I wouldn't classify that in even a subgenre.
JSP is calling you out. He said, "Sorry, cowboy, but Predator isn't beating out the Terminator."
Oh, bullshit! Terminator. Terminator is licking. Terminator is licking Predator's boots, begging for mercy. Is what fucking Terminator.
Right, because he's a cyborg and can't die. Remember what he said?
If it bleeds, you can kill it.
If it bleeds, you can kill it.
Just saying, he can die.
Would
Would you rather him fight the
Predator.
Terminator or the damn alien? Because we know how that turned out. Just saying.
Fuck that. The Xenomorphs would fuck up the T-800. Even the maybe not the T-1000. But the T-800, a Xenomorph can. See, this is a podcast we need to do. You know, this versus this, like Predator versus blah blah blah. That's a fun podcast.
Are we gonna do our own like celebrity death match? Let's bring it back.
We can do our own March Madness with like killers in films. I'm over that all day. You can turn that into the ESPN of murderers. I'm all about it.
Yeah, so get your shit together, JSP. I may have to put like you on one side of the screen and text on the other, just let you let you have that argument back and forth. But I think that might be a fun podcast.
You have 2 minutes, sir. Begin.
Hey, at least Predator has the decency to not go around with his dick and balls hanging out like your Terminator does, all indecent and whatnot. Whatever.
No, speaking of dick and balls hanging out, you got to watch the newest episode of Righteous Gemstones on Max. You're wow.
Okay.
That's a great start to this. That's a great start to the show.
Give me your clothes. Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, you'll never look at Walton Goggins. You'll never look at Walton Goggins the same way again. But
no, I never looked at him the same. Once I saw him cross-dressing as a trainee in Sons of Anarchy, I was like, okay, what's going on?
No. Not even close. Not even close to what he
Walter Goggins with the biggest fake tit you've ever seen in your life, and then you see him in Fallout looking like a Red Skull knockoff. Like he's done the whole foray.
He's got range, man. Cool. He's got range. He can be a man or a woman. He can be a tranny. He can be a preacher. He's got range, man. Nobody has the range of Walton Goggins. He's so good at everything. I totally forgot he was the Sons of Anarchy until I was
oh yeah
YouTube
and
a short came up and I was like, oh my god, I totally forgot he was in that. But, he's definitely fantastic. But let's see, Jason Isaac. I'll pull this picture up because this is the closest one I've got to the actual visual to get in the film. Jason Isaac stated that for his character's death scene, the special effects crew created, quote, an extraordinary latex model of me with every broken vein, every hair, mole, eye color, and stuff. My whole naked body hung up by hooks, gutted from neck to navel with all my organs pulled out. The plan was originally for DJ's entrails to still be dangling out of his suspended body, after which he was supposed to raise his head, showing that he was still alive, prompting Laurence Fishburne's character to shoot him in the head and put him out of his misery. The shot when I was dead started inside my stomach, pulled out and pulled back. I think it was so disgusting. Test audiences were throwing up, so he insisted the shot started wide.
See, now there is one way
if you want to get why, because you're like, oh shit! Like you realize what just happened to him. It's a visual scene.
Frank, you always say that, you want to see Damien Leone branch out from Terrifier, right? I could see him doing a remake of this film and just letting him go carte blanche with his practical skills. I think that would sell.
His horror skills,
he's a hot name director.
His horror skills are not in doubt. His visual skills are not in doubt. But if you're going to branch out to a different part of the horror genre, like I would almost like to see him do like a horror comedy. I don't consider Terrifier a horror comedy, even though there's a lot of comedic aspects to art.
I don't know.
I would like to see him now. I wouldn't mind seeing him remake something a little on the goofy side, like Killer Clowns from Outer Space, because that would take a lot of his visual know-how, and it's a little heavy on the comedy. So I want to see him show another side of himself without having to rely so much on the tying a girl up like a deer and transecting her with a hacksaw.
If you put him with. Because this story needs a solid writer with very good skills. I don't know which writer I would pair him with, but for the directing and the visual side, I could see Damien Leone really doing something with this kind of product. That I could get behind.
It's possible. Yeah, I'd like to see him do something. I could see him trying to go after a remake of this. I think that'd be interesting.
Yeah.
I think that'd be really interesting.
I could see that.
Because I did see good storytelling growth from the first Terrifier to the second one. And I'm like, okay, that's what I want to see. You've shown me you know how to tell a story now, rather than just have some guy rip people apart limb from limb with all these crazy tools. That's fine, but now tell the story. And he told the story very good in the second one. I'd like to see that. I'd like to see that continued growth and him do something outside of the Terrifier franchise. And something like this, I think would be very interesting for him to get his hands on. I think it'd be interesting.
Oh yeah.
I'm not going to knock that idea at all. But let's see. You know, for Sam Neill to get this look for his final scenes, Sir Sam Neill, don't forget he has been knighted, by the way, would come to the studio at 3 a.m.
I didn't know that.
7 to 8 hours in makeup. At the time, there was an extremely cold winter going on outside Pinewood Studios. They filmed this at Pinewood in England, by the way. And the walls were so thin that it was actually freezing inside the gravity drive set, despite all the fires that were going on. At some points, it got so cold that they had to stop filming as the fire brigade's water that was needed to put out the fires started to freeze inside the hoses. Neill was basically naked except for a very thin layer of appliances, so in between takes he had to stand close to a heater to warm up, but not too close, or otherwise the applications would start to melt.
This all sounds like everything I deal with for about a month and a half out of the year.
Suffering for the craft, man. Suffering for the craft.
Yeah.
Now, granted, this was 1996 when they were filming.
That's what I was going to say.
So maybe they've got other methods.
If they made this today, the appliances would not take 8 hours to apply. Like there are so many more extensive makeups that they do today that happen in a third of the time. If they were to do that, his makeup today, I'd say maybe 3 hours at the most.
Yeah. I've seen some videos on YouTube here and there of people like going through like how do you do like a basic scar or gash on your arm if you want to do some practical effect makeup for your Halloween costume or whatever. And it's just like you can go to a lot of different stores. Sometimes you can find it stuff at like stupid mall stores like Spencer's or whatever. You can order it for relatively cheap online. I'm not telling Jeremy anything he doesn't already know frontwards.
Oh yeah, they make pre-made appliances.
Yeah,
I mean, hell,
like the gum that you can mold.
The guy that's over my shoulder. To get that face, it's literally one piece that they lay over his face, they blend it in, and then pull the hood over, and it looks like it's whatever. So it could be done today. It's not that hard.
I've seen people. Jeremy's not the only friend I have to do this. There's a girl that I've known for several years, younger girl. She's in her early mid-20s. Since she was in her early teens, she's been doing like like horror makeup and stuff like that for years. Just as kind of like
that's cool.
So it's gotten easy enough.
There is easier ways to.
You can go to at this point. You can go to some Spirit Halloween shops around that time of year, around Halloween and stuff like that, and you can buy kits that will help you do small scale stuff on your face or your arm or whatever, and make it look pretty good if you just follow some basic instructions. So it's. I would imagine that today they would have a much easier time of doing that. But still, I mean, even like the appliances that they've used, even now they still use like the latex rubber and stuff like that. I would imagine now it insulates a little bit better.
I was going to say some liquid latex, some tissue, maybe just certain color palettes, like some darker like purples and some reds. Like I said, some scab blood, which is like thicker and stickier. It'll make it look a little more like. I hate that shit so much, by the way. I don't like feeling that there's constantly like raspberry jam just on my face all damn night because it's cold and I get it, I know what I'm saying, but I choose to go around that route. I'm just saying there's ways to do it. There's several types of blood, like I said, latexes. We even started mixing latex with cream makeup, just basic cream makeup, and made like a black. It looked like a symbiote, like just crawling up. Like she did it actually. She did like all over her whole face, like just.
We should do that at some point this summer. Just like do like a basic tutorial. Like we're gonna do some gashes in the face or whatever.
I could do that easy. Yeah, I could crank some of those out, no problem.
That'd be pretty dope. We'll fly Tex up here and we'll make him. We'll make him.
I can make him look fucked up. Yeah,
we'll make him look like this. Yeah. We'll do what we can. He's not gonna be nearly as skinny. That beer belly's gonna stick out, but he's gonna have runes all over it. So
hey, you know what?
we just Ed Sullivan his ass. We'll shoot him from the waist up.
Not all the Cenobites were anorexic, so it takes all kinds. So, and it's not a beer belly; it's a fuel tank for a sex machine. Everybody knows that. So go to hell.
It's still a six pack.
Takes a lot of hard work to get this beer belly. Spent a lot of money on beer to get here. It's an investment. That beer gets an investment.
You know how much time is invested in that beer? I I could be dead skinny, but have you tasted beer and tacos and barbecue? Are you serious?
Yeah.
Come on.
They go very well together. Yeah.
They do. Yeah.
True.
Let's see. The Event Horizon's motor uses a 3-ring system to create a black hole and travel to another place. The same concept you said earlier, Tex, was used in Contact in 1997.
Thank
which
you.
Came out
I know
35
all.
days before this.
My fucking psychic
I mean,
over
that's
here.
cool.
Jesus Christ.
I don't know who did it better. Do you think it was Event Horizon or Contact?
I don't know.
Well, given I haven't seen Contact since probably it came out, but just on recency bias alone, I probably have to go with this one.
Contact.
I love how menacing that room looks. Just, the spikes and shit. And
Well, see, the CGI looked okay in that room, but whenever Sam Neill goes into like the innards of it, where all those green panels are, the CGI in that looks like dog shit. And you like, I paused it at one point to get up and go to the bathroom or whatever, and like I'm like, oh man, it's just not like as good as
it looks a little rough,
it
yeah.
does in motion. It very, very, very early PlayStation type graphics.
Yeah, and you're not looking at it on a TV from 1997 either, so it's like,
Right? Yeah, I'm looking at it on a freaking 65-inch screen in the living room.
Right.
So,
different aspect ratios too. It's not meant to be in like widescreen and shit like that.
right. And I don't know what quality Tubi was putting it out. Which, by the way, yesterday was the last day to watch this on Tubi, so it's gone now. If you haven't seen it.
Oh shit! Well, I'm glad I watched it yesterday on
I'm
TV.
sure you'll be able to find it somewhere else.
Oh,
So
I'm
just-
I think it was
I'm
also-
sure it's
it was
out
also
there,
on
but
TV.
TV wise, it's gone. So
yeah,
because I turned it on last night to watch it. Like, oh, one day left. I'm like, oh shit, good timing. So that worked
Let me
out.
try to. I found a picture of the machine from Contact, so you
Let's
can
take a look.
compare it for yourself. Here is the. Let me load it in real quick. Here's the machine from Contact, which a vastly different look, but still
Right.
not. Kind of the same principle, just smaller scale. Depending on
Well,
Mm.
see, that one looks like it. I mean, that one's literally in a starship in space, and the other one's on Earth. So, like, just from background alone, Event Horizon looks better. But yeah, I'd say probably the Event Horizon if I had to vote.
But Contact's a very interesting movie, one that I'd like to review. I know that Tex probably want to watch it. It's
No.
definitely a philosophical sci-fi thing.
That's a horseshit movie because the whole movie, oh, there's only one of these, and then it explodes. Oh no, there's just one on the other side of the planet. Let's just go over there and use that one. That movie pissed me off even as a kid. But
I think it's a good movie. I enjoyed it.
no, I have no. If you go ahead and do Contact, but I'll be washing my hair. I'll be doing it.
He's washing his beard. He's washing all the blood out of his beard.
I'll be washing my
Busy
beard.
weekend. Now,
Right.
we're going to talk body count for a minute. Now, I'm not going to.
This one's hard.
I'm not going to make you guys guess anything because this is one of the things that kind of all the debates that we have about body count. It kind of plays into that. So the visual body count, the deaths on screen, despite all the gore in this movie, is 3. DJ, Smith, and Peters.
Yeah.
Peters right there are the only people that die
Yeah,
on
2
screen.
go into black holes.
Miller and Weird disappear into a black hole, and Cooper, Justin, and Stark survive to be rescued. Body parts of the original crew, who consist of 18 members, are seen throughout the film, but since their deaths occur off-screen, they are not included. If this is assumed that all the original crew members have died, the full body count would be 21.
I was gonna say, did we not see the crew get torn apart? The previous crew, so
Well, we see the
Now-
video of a bunch of stuff happening. I don't know that we necessarily see anybody.
Wait,
dead.
does that include?
I'm pretty sure they all did.
Does that include the crew member that Laurence Fishburne left behind? Though?
I don't think so because he does not die on screen. He's
Because
dead
then
before
that
the
would be
movie
what,
starts,
22?
so I don't think
He's already
he's
dead
Or
before
whatever?
the movie
No.
happened. Yeah.
I don't think you count him at
Oh.
all because A, he's alive when you see him in this movie, or at least he's functioning. He's an illusion.
He's doing
he
his
doesn't
best
really
impression of
exist.
Ghost Rider, is what he's doing.
He's an illusion. He doesn't really exist. So he can burn to death again, but it doesn't really happen because it's all a figment of his imagination,
Right.
a hallucination brought on by the demon that has taken over the ship. So I wouldn't count him at all. But it
See, I
does
don't
play into that debate that we always have. Do we count this death and not that death and blah blah blah? I don't know. I personally, when I think about these body counts, I think who dies on screen. Because I always joke that Tex didn't like Oppenheimer because there wasn't enough death. He didn't like it because he didn't see any deaths. So I'm like, well, if you consider that the atomic bombs killed a total of about 250 million people, there's a lot of death in it. You just didn't see it.
Hey,
it's not.
Show me those bombs getting dropped. Then here's my money and I'm getting my popcorn.
We know what happened.
With this film, the kind of general rule of thumb I go to, if the on-screen death can count if it's integral to the plot. Whereas, like in this film, the 18 alleged number of the original crew, I would say it should count because we do see glimpses of them. And the whole reason why the new people are going there is because those other people died. So just for that fact alone, I would count those deaths, even though it's bullshit they don't show them. Just glimpses of them. But if they're going to, show us that one, why not? Who gives a shit? Everything has a requel and a sequel and a third quel these days. So what's one fucking
True. I don't know. Maybe if they do end up remaking any of this stuff, we'll get a better body. I certainly hope so. Show me deaths all over the place. I'd be just fine with this movie.
Give me an hour and a half of murder, and you've got my fucking money. I'm an easy sell guy. You don't have to impress me. I'm an easy date. I will put out. Just give me what I want.
I'm an easy bitch. I'm easy.
I'm not gonna lie. It's all good.
Let's see. That's all the trivia that I've got. Let's go ahead and start to wrap things up there. I don't want to be too late tonight. I don't want to keep you guys. Let me get your guys' final thoughts. I'll start with you, Tex. Give me your final thoughts on Event Horizon from 1997.
This is definitely in the upper echelon of sci-fi horror. Like I said, this is Hellraiser meets Alien. I mean, to the point where Clive Barker was apparently, helping behind the scenes. So, I guess, shout out to them. But, it's a good one to watch. If you had never seen it, it's worth checking out. Like I said, it's gone from Tubi, but I'm sure, you wise people of the internet, can find it somewhere. It's a good one. Sam Neill gives a great performance as the Hell Priest. And, there's some good stuff to be had here. It's a Paul W.S. Anderson. I'm not going to say a must-watch, like top 3, but it's a good one. I like it.
Jeremy, give me your final thoughts on Event Horizon.
It was a fun movie. It's an interesting concept of instead of going somewhere else in the galaxy and finding something otherworldly. I mean, I guess technically you found something underworldly, so that's pretty cool. Like I said, I kind of got Alien vibes and Doom vibes. Demons in space.
Game over, man.
You're right.
Somebody should have said that.
Right. It's just too bad they didn't have a, trusty little double-barreled shotgun and a chainsaw. You could have taken care of some of those demons. I'm just saying. Or you just punch them in the mouth, like the Doom guy does.
Get away from her, you bitch. That's another alien.
All to the dulcet sounds of heavy thrash metal. So, But that's a video game for a different Let's Play. Yeah, it's a fun movie. I think it is still on Pluto TV last time I saw it for free. But
there you go.
Wherever you find it, I mean, it's worth watching.
Yeah, I get it. It's a cult classic for a reason. I mean, after you watch it with a different sensibility, it really does hold up pretty well. I like the fact that they held a lot of the really heavy visual stuff for the end of the movie, where the movie just kind of goes batshit crazy. It's got satanic stuff that I know some people aren't really into, but it makes for great horror films. It
should have went deeper into that.
It's got the scariness of space. Yeah. It's got great acting. It's got Sam Neill again playing a great bad guy. Like I said, we saw him in Daybreakers where he played a bad guy and he was kind of deliciously evil. I've used that a couple of times talking about some people, and I think Dr. Nick from Alex the Garbage Man likes it when I say that. He's deliciously evil. He is kind of that in both these. Well, this movie he's just kind of purely
kind of
evil.
A slimy evil guy.
Yeah, kind of, well, I mean, it's not even slimy.
He's kind of evil in Jurassic Park too. He straight up gets some kids almost fucking killed. But that's beside
he saved him in the end. But did you die? No.
I think that's really Grandpa's fault for making dinosaurs on an island. Really,
Yeah, no
it's-
kidding. Yeah, if you want to blame
To be
anybody,
fair.
blame the old man. But
blame John Hammond. Yeah,
Yeah, blame John Hammond. But yeah, I think this movie's solid still. I mean, like I said, the visuals, not all of them are great. You know, again, the burning guy and the hallucination, not great. But I mean, it was 1997. What do you want? Alex, of course, says he only likes satanic stuff in bed. Well, there's something that you and Tex have in common.
Hey, if you're gonna bring the Dark Lord into it, let's get some, Aleister Crowley shit going. Let's get weird. You know what I'm saying? Why not?
Some mask, some leather.
Okay.
I mean, come on, let's have a good time. You know what I mean? But yeah, I
We
think
know
that's
what
solid.
Dark Lord
Over on your nightstand doing.
I would be petrified to walk into Tex's bedroom. I have no idea what that looks like. It looks like Saw. It's
Well,
like he's got
there's
emblems and
lots
shit.
There's lots of chainsaws that may or may not have real blades. I'll just leave that to your imagination.
It's like, is that dried blood
All right.
at all? But, it's entirely possible. But yeah, I think it's a really great movie. Do I want to see it remade? I mean, I kind of like the fact when some movies end and don't really explain everything. You know, like that's why I've said I've always thought like why the Joker is such a good bad guy, because he isn't through most
Used to be.
iterations he's not really explained. He's just evil. You don't know why. He's just evil, and not knowing why he's evil is one of the things that makes him funner to watch. It makes him a little bit more scary. It's one of the things that accentuates that character and makes it so cool. I don't know that I necessarily need an explanation to go back and watch this movie and just think that where they went was evil. What came back was evil. Do I need an explanation of the evil? No, I'm good with the evil just being there and doing what it does, so I can get banger-ass visuals like this. Or so I can see Sam Neill ripping his own eyeballs out, or even better look when he's like before he rips his eyeballs out, or after actually.
They ever want to do a live
achieves
action
evil
version
more.
of the Chucky from Bride of Chucky? That's it right there. That's literally what you need to make him look like. It's the work is done for you. So.
Yeah, I think it's a pretty good movie. I think you guys will enjoy it. I don't know where. I think Jay just said it was on Pluto TV somewhere. I'm
Pluto
sure if
TV.
you look around, you're going to be able to find it somewhere. Usually, when they pull something off Tubi, it's going to go on somewhere else for a time. And then
Yeah,
it's gonna be
it
back
gets
on Tubi.
licensed elsewhere.
Yeah, it'll get licensed somewhere else. I noticed that one of my favorite classic scary movies, Them, was just got taken off Tubi recently. And I'm pretty sure it's going to be back on at some point. I'm just glad it is, because that's one of my favorite. It's 1950s, young Leonard Nimoy.
it's good.
The guy that played Brooks in Shawshank Redemption. We're drawing a blank of the name.
Oh,
The old guy. Yeah.
The old guy. He's in that movie. He's very young in it as well. He plays the police officer. But yeah, it's one of my favorite movies that we'll review eventually. But they took it off Tubi. I don't know where it's going to be now. So
And there's a whole mission in Fallout 3, literally called that,
literally,
So-
yeah.
where you're dealing with fire ants the size of like small cars. It's
Alex
horrifying.
says that he feels like Texas sex room is pink, and he wears a nightie in a giant crib.
See, that's all on you, Alex. That none of that is in reality. That's just you just predicted.
He's
But,
in
you know,
denial. He's in denial.
Well, you'll have to go check out his OnlyFans to find out. The link in the description below.
So yeah, I may do this for free, but I charge for premium content. That's all I'm saying.
That's how you do it.
Confident.
But yeah, again, good movie. I think you guys should go check it out wherever you can find it. I'm sure it'll be back on Tubi here pretty soon. Honestly, you can find this. Actually, who was it? Just said JSB just said this movie had a 4K release a few years ago. That's
nice.
actually kind of dope. If I
Not sure I'd want to see
4K
this one in
TV,
4K. That might go negative against the CG.
But you know what though? Some of the scenes, like shit like this, I think
Yeah.
in 4K that would look dope. The Burning Man thing, probably not so much.
I bet that looks like garbage.
I think some of the stuff
But that
would look
looks good.
fantastic in 4K.
Yeah.
The practical stuff I think would look great in 4K. The
Yeah,
CGI
practical would look good.
stand out like a sore thumb. But I mean,
But-
I think it would be worth putting up with some of the shittier moments to have those really great visuals of like his face cut up and eyes gouged out and all that. I think it'd be worth sitting through some of the shittier moments to get through that really great practical stuff that would really pop in 4K. But yeah, go check it out wherever you find it. I think it's totally worth the watch. And then let us know in the comments below what you guys think. Thanks to my amazing co-hosts for doing what they do as always. You know, I put more horror movies on the schedule because of these guys. They're so knowledgeable. They're so opinionated. They're so entertaining. Why wouldn't I talk more horror movies when I have these guys?
If you're not doing horror, I'm not useful on this channel. Just throwing that out there.
I'll keep that in mind when we do the Barbie movie. We have to do that one eventually, right?
I'll just watch it that week. I'll watch The Wolf of Wall Street so I get to see Barbie naked. It comes out in all her glory. So it'll be fine.
But I don't know. Let's get out of here now. Jeremy, where can the folks at home find you, my friend?
I'm here Tuesday and I don't know why I almost said Wednesday. Tuesday and Thursday, not doing Die Hard, or apparently not doing this movie as Bruce Willis could have done. Don't hate Die Hard. Jesus, I just hate that people think it's a Christmas movie.
There's
a special dimension on the other end of the black hole for people like that who think that it's a fucking Christmas movie. Let's just say that.
Preach.
If I start doing that, I might catch fire too. That'll be the next thing. I will say that I'll leave with this, as I mentioned earlier. I mean, in terms of video games, like I said, if anyone wants to check out Dead Space, that's a fun series.
It sounds interesting. I'll have to look up some gameplays.
Yeah, zombies in space. I mean, it's a good horror game, and like I said, it's some scary shit. It's a little different watching it than it is playing it because you're actually fearing for your life when you're trying to play it. When you're watching it, you're like, oh, well, that's fun. Why didn't you do that? But something I was looking for in the background while we were doing this, and I was definitely paying attention. Something that it kind of reminded me of is if anyone's into analog horror, there is a series on YouTube called Gemini Home Entertainment, and it kind of reminded me of this. You've seen it, so you know what I'm talking about. I was like, There's a space probe that goes out past like Jupiter, like Saturn or something, and finds this entity, whatever, and it gets like sucked into it, and it comes back out and comes back to Earth, and it brings something back with it that's this like parasitic something or other, and like it takes over like people, it takes over the Earth basically, and it turns it into what its place of origin looks more like. So it's a cool little like mini horror series to watch on YouTube if you ever get a chance to watch it. So go check that out.
And the shade from Lone Star State, where can the folks at home find you, my friend?
Here this week, providing work doesn't make me a future slave. But this week, going forward, for all the Mutant fam, the Joe Bob fans of the Last Drive-In on Shudder, that guy right there, the schedule for the Last Drive-In, instead of every week, it's the first Friday of the month. They're doing the double feature. Well, this week is Slasher Week, so Joe Bob and Darcy will be showing 2 slasher films. Of course, they don't tell you which ones till they show them, but make sure you're tuned in to Shudder or AMC Plus this Friday night when you're not watching us. So, shout out to the music.
As for me, you will find us back here on Thursday tackling one of the last couple of films made by the late great Gene Hackman. We're going to be talking about Runaway Jury. Stepping away from the horror for just a minute to talk about one of the great courtroom dramas. Again, a loaded cast of just some fantastic actors. A movie that definitely it spurs a lot of talk. It's a touchy subject, but it puts out there pretty interestingly. But again, just the movie itself, whether you like how it ends or not, God, it's fantastic. Gene Hackman, it's prime Gene Hackman. Even in his later acting career, was just so damn good. And he's surrounded by a bunch of other fantastic actors. So Runaway Jury on Thursday. I'm really looking forward to that. It's one of the movies I've been wanting to do for a while. It's one of my favorite Gene Hackman films. It's just good all around. But we talk about that one on Thursday. Thanks to my co-host for being so awesome, as always. Thanks to all of you for hanging out here and being with us tonight. Thank you, all the people that watched on Twitter, YouTube, Rumble. Thank you guys very much. Share the show. Do all that stuff. Fuck YouTube. I don't want their money. They've completely eliminated us from the algorithm as far as I know, because we've had no growth lately. I don't give a shit about them. As long as you are here watching and sharing around to all your friends, we very much appreciate it. We'll see you guys next time. Till then, adios.
Hey, I'm still open to that Elon, X sponsorship. I can be bought. Shout out Elon Musk. get this shit going, man.
I think Casey
Come on.
is raw, puts the Event Horizon in his bum.
Well, today may be April Fool's Day, but every day is Casey is a full day. That's what I wanted to say.
I'm really surprised. The poll question said, have you ever worn your underwear 2 days in a row? Because I didn't have any good questions about the movie to put up there. 66% of people said yes. Own it, people. Own it. Own it. I'm pretty sure that all those people were Casey, though, to be absolutely honest.
Well, you know, he does weigh as much as like 3 people. So
Why? But one of the options in there was even Casey is on day number 953, and one person voted for that. How the hell? One person, really? I don't get it.
And now, folks, it's time to say goodnight. We sincerely appreciate your patronage and hope we've succeeded in bringing you an enjoyable evening of entertainment. Please drive home carefully and come back again soon. Good night.